NRL Fantasy Best of the Best Part 2. We've got Murray here, coach of FU Dave Fafita, sitting in 4th place. Was 8th place last week. Big rise. Mate, I bet you're riding high right now.
Exactly. Thanks for having me, Longy. Very keen to rip in.
Good to have you, man. Good to have you. Now, Murray's dialing in from Central Queensland. So if there is a bit of buffer in the video, just know that we're calling right out there.
Exactly.
So don't stress that, guys. But look, Murray, I want you to talk about last week. I want you to talk about the trades you made, because I was looking at the ladder last week and you were sitting quite a bit behind, and you've made up massive ground on the top guys.
Yeah, so last week I was about 144 off the top rank, and then cut it by 104. So I think I'm 44 behind first now. The big movement was definitely Jamal Fogarty and Tom Starling coming in. Fogarty is just a great pod to have at the moment in the top 10, because most people have Cleary, Jerome Hughes, and Galvin. Mm-hmm. You probably can't afford to bring in a fourth half at that rate unless you want to move Galvin. And I think he's going to be probably close to the second best player on the run home in total points behind Cleary.
Yeah, I think Fogarty's a monster, man. Because looking through your team here, let's get into it. So you've got Reed at hooker, pretty solid, pretty consistent, a little bit dodgy right now. You got Haas, Watson, Fanua, Blake. That is one of the better middle forward rotations you got. No Isaiah Yeo for you?
No, unfortunately, he's the one I had to miss. I would have looked at him in round 20, but the missing the round and then potentially the round 27 resting, whatever. Just can't afford everyone.
Yep. Right, so he would have been the one you might have grabbed instead of Watson in round 20.
Potentially. I don't think there was a person on earth who could have talked me out of Watson in round 20. I thought he was the player to get.
I know. I still think he can bounce back. Last week, you look at that and you sort of go, all right, Nat Butcher played 55 minutes in the middle. Watson played pretty low minutes at lock and then a bit of minutes at hooker. I'm just thinking he's going to bounce back. Are you at the same camp, or are you a bit concerned?
Yeah, definitely. Tupanua on the bench this week is a massive one for me. It means if someone goes down to the centers, he's not the first person filling in anymore.
How good is that? For Damien Cook as well, you've got Michael Cheekham on the bench. So same effect for him. Hopefully those guys stay in their positions and we're all good. All right, going through your team here. So Fafita, Nakora, then Galvin, Cleary captain. You jumped on that. Herbie Farmworth, Kale Iro, Campbell, Carraz, Tedesco. So strong backline, and then quite a bit of depth in your bench too. So Koloamatangi, Fogarty, Starling, and Madison, all very good scorers right now. Then Fainu, Marzu, Gray, and Marmazelis. So, I mean, let's start talking about your team here. What sort of trades are actually? We'll go into that in a bit. Let's talk about your team sitting in the top 10 first. Are you feeling confident for the run home? Are you feeling like you're going to take that number 1 spot, or are you a bit worried?
I'm very confident. I can't wait to have Greg Marju and Kalen Ponga next week against the Tigers. Greg Marju's another great pod. I think he could average 50 plus on the way home. Ryan Madison's another one who teams can't really afford to get in anymore. And if he's locked in the 60 minutes of lock, that should be a 50, 54 plus average on the way home. I'm very confident.
Talk me through your Marzu logic there, because 50 plus, are you backing a return to form, or are you thinking the Knights going to run, or what's your thought process there?
Yeah, Knights going to run. That draw, I can't remember exactly, but that draw is disgustingly easy. Kalen Ponga's back. Jackson Hastings out, which is a big one for that entire back line. I'm just really confident on that stack.
So you're thinking Hastings out, Phoenix Crossland into half. They're going to shovel the ball out more, or what do you think?
Yeah, Ponga should be getting more early ball like he should have early in the year. And he loves going left from what I remember last year.
Dude, that's exciting. As a Ponga buyer myself, I'm pretty pumped to hear that. So looking at your team then. So if you get Ponga in, you got Marzu as well. You got Teddy, Carraz, Campbell. Carraz can slide into center. And you got Farmworth, Iro, and I guess Gray sitting there too. You're probably not going to play Gray too much. How are you going about sort of deciding which one of these guys to play? And even this week, who are you going to be targeting to play this week?
Yeah, so basically the plan is this round I can loop because of Mamazelis, thankfully. Might not be able to loop in 25 because I have no Cowboys players. But basically, I think the plan is to whack it's probably Dry, Gray, and Marju most weeks in the loop. And then I think Knights play very late in most weeks. I think they their earliest games like the last Saturday game some weeks. So if Dry Gray scores 50 plus, leave him in the loop. And then if not, Greg Marju comes in to play Sunday and see how it goes.
That's prime, yeah, because you got Tedesco's bye coming up. The rest of these guys starting no buys, and then your bench is pretty buy free too. Actually, you're pretty well set up. It's just Samuel Afinu who you're probably looking at selling anyway. So you're in a pretty good spot. Okay, then going back to the starting team, Nakora, how are you feeling about him? Because he's had some very big games and some very small games, so it seems a bit up and down.
Yeah, highs and lows. I'm not really phased. Like I got him when a week or two after he returned from the suspension earlier in the year, and I think he scored like 20 against Penrith with like 12 missed tackles. But then he went on like a streak of like I don't know how many games in a row of scoring 50 plus with minimal tries. Yeah, I think it's just waves, and like I don't think Trindle being the dominant half on the left side is that impactful. Because like what was it 2 weeks ago? Sorry, Trindle ran across the field and gave him ball to score a try.
Yeah, I think their run home too. Sharkies run home, it's very easy, like Knights. A lot of opportunities for him to score well. But let's get into your team, man. Let's talk about what got you here, because you're sitting in 8th place. Have you been in 8th place, top 10 for a while now? Or sitting in 4th, sorry, 8th last week. But have you been top 10 for a while, or is it a more recent move?
More recent, I believe. I've been top 100 for a little bit. I think I cracked top 100 in round 15 on the Bulldogs bye. I was away for the weekend and came back to like a score of 900. I'm like, oh, it must be pretty average. But no, 900 that weekend apparently was a monster score, moved from like 300 into like 90. And after that, it's just been slowly chipping away. Last week was probably one of the only big moves in recent weeks.
Yeah, doing 8th to 4th is massive, because you look at a lot of the top teams, a lot of scores around that sort of 1,020 to 1,040 mark. So like you said, you made up 100 points on the top spot. Aussie Frost King, who we love as well. So I'm rooting for the both of you to take it out. Going back, best moves, because you have those big jumps. What were some of your best trades? Talk to me about those. Talk about the logic and the moments you had, and why those were so good.
Yeah, definitely. I think Xavier Willison, for anyone who was able to jump on during the Origin period, was an unsung hero. I got him in round 17 because I think I needed to trade one person to field 17 in general. And then I got him with the idea of in 19, I'll play him in the mids when like Carrigan and stuff are out. So I got him in. He made me like 80K over 3 weeks. And I think he averaged like 51 or something insane like that for like a 400K dude. Like that was just really good for me in terms of like a short move. And then I was able to dump him at round 20 when all the troops came back.
A few of those guys worked out, right? Because you got Xavier Wilson, he pumped it. Corey Jensen went crazy. So Lockie, who does some writing for us, he got on Jensen. Guys like Nathan Brown, Tafoa Sipley, all those sorts of options in that 400K area who had Origin players out, they just absolutely brained it for that period. So choosing Xavier Wilson, why did you choose him over, say, some of those guys?
Yeah, so as I said, round 19 mid was the biggest reason. I was originally talking to some of my mates. I've gone, I'll go Leo Thompson because I think he can average like 45. And then that round, I think Barry Tui tweeted out saying he's got, I can't remember what problem, but he had an injury.
Yeah.
I've gone, okay, I'll just go down to Wilson then. He's starting this weekend. The Warriors aren't that great. Should be, and he has like, 1 ppm or something like that. Yeah. And then, it all just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, Wilson's a freak. I was sort of looking at him at the start of the year even and thinking maybe he'd take some minutes that Flegler vacated, but they just all went to Jensen. So, mate, good scout, good pick there. Any other trades or any other big moves that you want to shout out as some of your best moves this year?
Yeah, Herbie Farnworth pulled me out. Didn't pull me out of the hole, but I got him in round 11. Sorry. Yep. So he was like a bit below 600K. Compare that to Aitken at the time, who was like 700K. I'm like, I'll just go for a pod. I don't think it was salary cap related. I think I just did it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And then the round that Aitken got injured for the season, Herbie overtook him in total points over that stretch. So it saved me a trade, and he outscored the biggest, or probably one of the highest owned centers in the comp outside of Pyro.
Key was those massive games, right? So that Herbie 99 score, he had a couple of other really big ones. He's been pretty consistent as well. I think people talk about him being a low scorer, and they see him, and you tell me if this is your experience too, but you see him on a really low score in the 60-minute mark, and then he just randomly throws 4 offloads in the last 12 minutes and, saves the score. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, the Dragons game, I can't remember what round it was, but he was like, as you said, he was even like 20 or 30 or something, but then pumped out like 3 offloads and then updates they took away a missed tackle and gave him a turnover try saver. He's got a fair few of those too lately.
Yeah. Dude, he's a beast. He's a physical beast. I can see why the Dolphins went and got him. Any other big moves you want to shout out?
Jaden Campbell's probably the last one. Couldn't tell you why. Just picked him up in 14. Sorry,
Was that the
obviously
first week back at 6
Yes,
or?
yeah,
Yeah.
first week back.
Ooh.
He obviously the major point was the round 16 and 19 bye coverage. That was massive for me because I think round 19 was it the wing fullbacks weren't all that great.
Yep.
Yeah, and then some of my mates were like, "Why'd you get him?" I don't know, just because. And then he hasn't missed a single beat every week.
Man, dude, I think at that time of year, it was Jack Whiten as well, and Jaden Campbell. They were sort of the two in that real value position where they were a gamble, and they both really paid off. So, were you tossing up Campbell with anyone else at the time, or was it just you were locked in on him?
No, I think I was just locked in on him for the wing fullback position.
He's been unstoppable. Is part of you getting Ponga and deepening that wing fullback position trying to protect against his injury risk?
No, not really. I'm not really scared on the injury front because I don't think I've watched him play and be like, "Oh, is he hurt here?" It's not like SJ or someone who you see limping around and go, "Oh," like Tohu Harris is probably a better example. Sorry, where you're going, "Oh, is he done now?" But no, I wasn't worried. And then Ponga, as I said, I do not want to watch that man finish the season with that run home.
Oh, mate, imagine that you're up by 50 in first place. Your opponent has Ponga. You just you'd be concerned. I agree. Campbell hasn't looked super hurt. And the other thing is the consistency of the scoring is crazy. Like they got pumped a couple of weeks ago, and he still scored like 42 points or whatever it was. So there just isn't a low score in him. Do you expect that to maintain itself? So I mean, I look at him and I go, all right, cool. This is a guy who he's a half in a team that's struggling, and he doesn't really kick the ball. Can he maintain this sort of scoring consistently for the run home?
Well, I think the answer is yes because he has those junk runs in him where like he taps a few people. Then you go tackle break, offload. Playing next to Fafita is always a plus, even though I don't think I've watched him set up Fafita for a try assist at all this season. I could be wrong.
Fafita's a decoy, man. That's he just uses Fafita as a decoy. Goes himself.
100%. And then last week he junked out 2 try assists on bounce passes to Khan Pereira. But yeah, I don't think I'm watching him do anything, and I'm not like, yeah, he's not doing that next week. Outside of the game where he kicked like 7 goals or whatever it was, that was probably unsustainable. But the rest of it, no.
All right, talk to me about this. So if you were sitting in, let's say, rank 100, and you're 250 points behind, you got a few trades in the bank, all that sort of thing. Are there any pods that you'd be eyeing off as guys who no one's jumping on? Like, would you be looking at, I don't know, Cam Munster's what I'm getting asked about, or Sean Johnson, or Brian Toe, or any of these sorts of guys?
Sean Johnson, no. I'm not a fan of the Warriors and how they're playing football at the moment. They looked better with Tamari, to be honest. Munster's an interesting one. I did look at him because even if he goes like 50-50 in the next 2 weeks, he's probably going to be close to a straight swap with Jai Gray. But then, there's the rumors that like Brandon Smith mentioned that the round 26 restings. I think Fogarty's probably the best pod you can get on. As I said, like most people's half situations are kind of sorted, so it doesn't really make sense for too many people to attempt to get on.
Yeah, Fogs is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I like that move. Any crazy ones? So you got Cam Munster there. What about like a Hudson Young or one of these types of players?
Hudson Young's interesting. Like back-to-back 80s, and like I think even the first 80 he based out like 56 or something like that. Ridiculous. Yeah. So like it's not like he's going to drop you a 20. Leo Martin could be a really sneaky one at like 400k. I think he is now. He's got Cleary back. Yeah, he's fallen off really hard price wise. Yeah, Martin's 430k.
Yeah, Origin period, man. Origin period brutalized him.
Yeah, he's interesting. There was someone else I was thinking about. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think Fogs, Wilton, but I think everyone's pretty aware of Wilton now.
Yeah.
After the 50 last week.
Mate, good shout. And I want to we talk about the good stuff, but I want to talk about the negative stuff as well. So you can get to 4th place and make plenty of mistakes, right? So tell me about some of the mistakes, some of the worst moves you made, some of the gut wrenches that you've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, start of the season was most people Wong, Tupanua, Jacob Gagai. I started with him thinking that he must have had the wing spot because I remember that. Because they played in Vegas. Isaac Thompson, I knew, couldn't play over there because of, I think he had like a criminal record or something. So he couldn't go. So I'm like, he must have the spot over Tane Milne because otherwise you would have just picked Tane Milne.
Yeah.
But then round 2, I think it was, he just got dropped immediately. So that was a red dot for a while. Bad trade-ins. John Bateman, round 8, he bottomed out. I was like, cool. He was playing the lock position, which was great.
Oh, then. Yeah, sorry, man.
Yeah.
I jumped on that too.
Yeah. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, he did his peck or whatever it was. I was like, cool. See you, Bateman.
Yeah. Bateman at lock, though. Good score.
Yeah, 100%. He was like on track to get DPP. Like Bateman, and the Tigers' buy coverage was ridiculous.
Man, that was the goal. That was the goal. There were so many of those guys because you were on Kohler as well. Like,
yeah.
What could have been? What could have been? Tough year.
Yeah, it's very tough.
Yeah. So tell me about your history, man, because you jumped into 4th place here. Have you always been an overall player? You play a lot of head-to-head, or what's your go?
Mostly head-to-head for the last, 8 years or so. Yeah. Never that great. I just, like picking like Victor Radley because Victor Radley's a good player type thing. Last year I started to take it seriously, started using footy stats and stuff like that. I think I finished inside like the top 10K. I started off well. I was in like 600 after like 10 rounds, and then the wheels fell off. And then this year,
bad buy management last year, or what was the go?
No, if I recall correctly, I think I might have like overemphasized buy management by just burning trades to field 17 when it probably wasn't appropriate. I remember AJ Brimson I got in, he was just useless last year fantasy wise. And then this year obviously hit the ground running. I think it was top 1K after round 3 or something like that. And then the rest is just panned itself out, just playing smart, I guess. Well, not smart, but not trying to get cute with it.
Yeah, I mean that's the key, right? It's points on the board. You just got to grab those points however you can. If you were going to captain someone who wasn't Cleary this week, who would you be looking at in this team list?
Payne Haas. I wasn't with you last week in anti-potting the Cleary C, but I was very adamant that if I didn't have Cleary for whatever reason, Payne Haas was going to be that captain. Because 70 and 71 minutes, it's just for Payne Haas's standards, it's not very good, PPM wise. But I understand playing 70 minutes is not. I can't expect his PPM to be 1.2 or whatever it normally is. I also didn't expect him to play more minutes than Carrigan last week. But same this week, I reckon. Run it back, Payne Haas. Tedesco.
Fanua Blake versus Parramatta.
I don't know, man. He's had a couple cracker weeks, but he's also getting bailed out by tries in the late second half.
I mean, tries are kind of his base stats, right?
Yeah, I agree.
0.5 tries a week guy.
But last week, when he scored, I think Seyfarth shot out to try and smack the ball down, and then Latu Finu got isolated against him, so of course he was going to score. I don't hate it. Just I don't think he has the floor to make me feel comfortable doing it, especially when Cleary's going to just burn absolutely everyone.
Yeah, no, look, I'm with you there. You look at him and you look at Payne Haas, and Haas 70 without doing anything exceptional.
Yeah.
Fanua Blake scores a try, gets 67. So yeah, you can't compete with that. Cleary this week, I mean, obviously, look, 3 tries, 2 try assists. But if you were going to project his score this week up against Newcastle, are you thinking he's going to go massive again, or do you think people need to temper expectations, or what's your view here?
Yeah, I don't think they have to temper the expectations. I feel like a lot of people go, oh, he scored 3 tries. Why didn't he score more than Hines' 124? But he's still, without those 3 tries, he scored 86 if you take away the 3 tries and the line break. Yeah, and he ran for 250 meters or something insane like that last week.
He's also a guy who finds attacking stats. He's in the best team in the comp, and he's the best player in the comp, and he's a half. So he's going to have attacking stats. That's part of his profile as a scorer.
Yeah. I reckon 70 minimum. I reckon he averages 70, 70 plus throughout the rest of the season. I think 70 is a pretty obtainable thing. And the Knights forward pack didn't stand up last time in round 20. 20? Yeah, I think it was round 20.
What are your thoughts on Ponga versus Penrith then, right? Sticking in that game, because I'm looking at Penrith and I'm thinking, they got a rookie fullback, so they don't have Edwards or Laurie organising the defence. They've got no Fisher Harris, so they're going to be a little bit looser in the middle. And they've got some younger guys in the back line there as well. They might be a bit more vulnerable than usual, and Ponga could potentially crack off some plays.
Yeah, definitely. And as we touched on earlier, the halves pairing, I think I looked at it this morning. All three of them kick for around 180, 200 meters. Ponga's probably going to kick a bit more and play. He scored 52 against the Broncos while doing nothing for his standards.
Yeah. Yep.
I think he's definitely, and Panthers don't also. Last week we let Lomax score like 40 something at fullback. I think he's perfectly a fine buy.
I'm with you there, man. Because we're getting a lot of people saying, "Oh, no, don't get Ponga. He's up against Penrith, break even, whatever, blah blah blah." But I'm with you there. I reckon he could pop off this week. I've got him written in as like a 50 this week, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if it was higher than that.
Yep, I'm pretty much the same boat. 45, 50 at minimum. And I don't really care about the 68 break even or whatever it is. I'm not planning on ever selling him again, so the lost cash really isn't that big of a deal.
I mean, fingers crossed, right? Do you reckon that's the new meta then? So looking at wing fullbacks, because Latrell Mitchell, he bumped his, so he was an average of between 52 and 56 basically every year for the last 3 years. He bumped it up to about a 60 with some more kick meters. Ponga's doing the same thing. He's kicking more as well. Is that going to be something you're looking for next year where you're thinking, all right, does this fullback kick the ball and add to their base like that?
Potentially, but I don't think there's many that do. Latrell fell into that weird situation where his halves were Wyden and Walker, and neither of them can kick the football well enough, in my opinion.
Yep.
Ponga has semi-capable halves. Like Gamble's not bad with the boot in within the 40-meter range. I'm not really thinking about it, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. I mean, for South Sydney, they're both sixes, right? But yeah, okay, cool. And then this center position. So Farmworth, Iro, and Pong coming in, so Karaz as well. Talk me through your thought process there. Who you're starting, sitting, looping, all of that.
Yeah, so one of the centers will definitely be sat this week regardless. I'm not going to put them in a loop. I'm looking at starting Karaz and Iro. Karaz because he's just too fantasy relevant. It doesn't really matter. Iro, I like the Sharks versus Rabbits matchup. Neither of those teams are great defensively. And then Farnworth, I'm just absolutely scared of what that right Roosters edge will do to him with Manu back.
Yeah, man, they're going to feast. I completely agree with you there. I think that's the play. And head-to-head leagues. You winning your league?
Yeah, I'm winning all of them fairly comfortably.
I reckon you might be in trouble, though. So, just looking back, the year I won, I actually didn't win many head-to-head leagues at all because you use all your trades early, right? And you're just trying to grab points. And then that week, that round 26, where the head-to-head grand final is, all your league mates have saved trades for that, and you're just completely burnt out. Like, are you confident you win your head-to-head leagues, or do you think that might happen to you as well?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take the low road bracket-wise because I have Watson and Tedesco. So that first round of the finals, I'm expecting to lose and then drop into the lower bracket or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But then I'm pretty confident. Only Payne House on the bye the week after. And then no buys. And
Cowboys,
then Galvin.
I want to ask you about another guy here too. So we're talking about center. Val Holmes. A lot of people are asking about him. 577K. Got a Tigers matchup this week that's pretty good. If you were chasing from further behind, would you be considering him as a pod?
Yeah, I like the shout. Like, I guess the question you got to ask is, can he be this bad forever? Like we know who he is. We know what he is fantasy wise. He's meant to be one of the top centers. I could see it, but I'm personally not for me. I just don't like what I've seen this year from him.
No, look, you're far up enough. You don't have to make that call. But I know if you're sitting in 50th or something like that, he's that kind of guy who can pop off 100 points. And the Cowboys have scored 70 against Tigers last year, so it's possible.
Yeah, they also got the reverse put on them as well when Stafford Tower just gave an absolute bath all game.
Man, it's a good matchup, that one. Any shout-outs you want to give as well to any of the boys?
Yeah, shout out the EFC boys on Discord. Spend a lot of time there just talking absolute rot about fantasy.
Mate, we all spend too much time on that, eh? Awesome. Well, look, thanks for coming on, Murray. Appreciate it, man. And look, we're all going to be rooting for you this week. So Murray's team name, in case you guys missed it, is FU Dave Fafita. Actually, before we go through, I know you're not a Dave Fafita hater, so it might be worth you telling that story quickly.
Yeah, look, I think David Fafita's a great footballer. I think Billy Slater's an absolute moron for refusing to pick him. I'm a Queenslander too, so it doesn't help. I was a very, very salty Penrith fan that Friday afternoon when he announced that he was signing with the Roosters and not us. And then I changed my team name. I should revert it now that he backflipped on the Roosters, but I'm just too lazy.
Yeah, I mean, they'll make you swap it if you win. So
Yeah, we can do. I can deal with that then.
You got time. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for jumping on, Murray. Appreciate you making the time.
Too easy. Thank you very much.
Cheers. See you, mate.